Today delivering a lecture on ELISA. ELISA, that is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. What is ELISA? ELISA, in which we use enzyme for detecting immune responses. We use different types of enzymes such as HRP, means horse radish peroxidase, urease, alkaline phosphatase. In this process, we use enzyme substrate reactions that produce color, and the color is measured with the help of a specific spectrophotometer, and on the basis of color measurement we detect the presence of antigen or antibody in our sample. Basically ELISA is of three types, that is, first one is indirect ELISA, second sandwich ELISA, and third one is competitive ELISA. So these are three types of ELISA. In first, indirect ELISA. In indirect ELISA, basically we measure the concentration of concentration of antibody in our sample. For indirect ELISA, first antigens are coated onto microteter well. Then sample containing primary antibody is applied to the wells. The antibody is bound to the antigens. Then we apply secondary antibody that are specific to primary antibodies. These secondary antibodies are conjugated to specific enzymes. Enzymes we can use HRP, alkaline phosphatase, urease, etc. After that, we add substrate for that particular enzyme, and after addition of substrate, the colorless reaction convert into a colored reaction. Then we measure the intensity of the color, and after measure the intensity of the color, we can determine the concentration of particular antibodies in our sample. We can use this type of ELISA for detection of, for example, in HIV detection. For HIV detection, we can use indirect ELISA. Second is sandwich ELISA. Sandwich ELISA is basically used for the detection of antigen in the sample. In sandwich ELISA, first antibodies are incubated on the wells. as in indirect ELISA, we can measure the concentration of antibody, but in sandwich ELISA, we can determine the concentration of antigen in our sample. For this, first we incubate antibodies on wells, then we apply our sample that contain antigen, then again apply secondary antibody that are conjugated to enzymes, then apply substrate for the particular enzymes. A color reaction is produced that is measured with the help of a spectrophotometer, and the concentration of sample or antigen is measured with the help of sandwich ELISA. Sandwich ELISA, as name indicates, the antigens are present between two antibodies, so it gives a name sandwich ELISA. So third type of ELISA is competitive ELISA. It is another variation for measuring the concentration of antigen in our sample. In competitive ELISA, first we incubate our sample containing antigen with a solution containing antibody. These are formed antigen-antibody complex. Then these complex are applied to antigen-coated wells. The antibodies that are already bound to antigens are formed in free forms. They are not bound to the antigens that are coated on the well. The free antibodies are bound to antigens that are coated on well. These free antibodies then add secondary antibodies that are conjugated with a enzyme, then add substrate for that enzyme and measure color. In this competitive ELISA, more the antigens present in our sample means it's lower the absorbance that we measure, and after measuring the absorbance we can determine the antigen concentration in our sample. So these are three types of methods, three types of ELISA that can be used for measuring either antigen or antibody in our sample. Now applications of ELISA. So ELISA can be used for many purposes, like for antigen or antibody concentration detection. As we know that indirect ELISA is used for the antibody concentration detection, and sandwich ELISA used for antigen concentration detection in our sample. It can be used in food industry for determining certain food allergens. It can be used for screening of different types of drugs, and it also can be used for detecting different types of diseases like HIV, influenza, and hemolytic anemia.